Welcome everybody, and welcome to another day of amazing Overwatch at 413 Esports. I am your play-by-play 413 suspect. Joining me on this bench today is 413 Down the Barrel. Welcome, Barrel, and tell me, how excited are you for this match?
I'm absolutely feeling pumped and ready to go. Seeing the blazing performance that we've seen from 413 Havoc, and seeing as Ascent has just this major opportunity to make a big statement, a big come up in this particular match. I cannot wait to see how it unfolds. But before we get involved with that particular match today, let's take a look at our fixtures for this week.
Absolutely, our fixtures have been a little bit exciting for this week. I'm super excited. We've already had an amazing match with Nightshade versus Catalyst. Nobody really predicted that outcome, and now we're moving on to Ascent versus Havoc. And like, there's a lot of questions in the air, right? Like Ascent's kind of at the lower end of this tier right now, and they're looking to punch up. So far all the other teams have been punching up, on our tiers and also in games, right? Like, we've seen UAH Chargers Blue and New Haven Varsity starting to take maps and beat other teams. So it's a big question. Ascent versus Havoc is a really great way of telling where they are in the standing. What do you think about that, Barrel?
Yeah, I really do think that there is a definite a need for lots of an explosion from Ascent in order to get themselves into a position to make their namesake in this tournament. Like you said, University of New Haven, as well as Charger Blue, both of them have been taking maps from great teams and making sure that they know that they are forces to be reckoned with for sure. But Ascent has yet to do so, but not necessarily something that can't happen. So that's what I'm looking forward to it. And I'm going to say that Ascent is going to at least take 2 maps off of Havoc.
I think Havoc's a completely beatable team. I think we witnessed that when they went up against New Haven Varsity, I believe, and even Battered Overwatch took maps off of them. I think Havoc is not the monster we all think it is, and I think Ascent's had a serious chance tonight. But that said, I think if they're going to do it, they need some fuel. They need some energy rocking into them. I think they need some Rogue energy. So let's take a look at our power standings here. Power brought to you by Rogue Energy.
And yeah, let's take a look at our Rogue Energy power rankings. So we have Havoc, 413 Havoc sitting at the top of our S tier, sitting right next to the WVU Mountaineers. With the performance that's been happening right now from Havoc, I don't know if they belong in that S tier or at least the first spot in that S tier anymore. I think that from where they've been performing, they've been letting a lot of maps slip into a lot of teams, and I think that specifically they don't necessarily know where their strengths lie yet. They feel a little bit lost sometimes in some of these maps, but I feel like they have the raw potential. But as far as the team play goes, it's a little bit out there. I don't know. What do you think, Suspect?
It's an interesting stance. I have a little bit more faith in Havoc than I think you do here, because personally, I'd keep them at the top. They beat WVU, whether non-convincing or not. And WVU's been doing kind of similar things, like the drop maps to Nightshade, a tier lower to them, and to other teams as well. I think Havoc has distinct carries. and I think that they really, fuel the game. Like I think player for player, Havoc has one of the best rosters in the league. I think they're just working on coordination and diversity in their roles. I think they're kind of like one dimensional, and I think that applies to WVU Mountaineers a lot as well. Like they have really good player power, and they've been playing long enough together that they have synergy too. So I think if it comes down to it again, it'd be a tough call, Havoc versus WV Mountaineers. But right now we're looking at Ascent at the bottom of our tier, right? And their strength of schedule has been kind of flipping and flopping. I think they went up against um one of the higher ranking teams and got 3-0. That said, they've so far stomped Potatoes and Riot as far as I can remember. So they could definitely be in contention for that B tier, maybe even looking up to that A tier, depending on how many maps they can take off of Havoc tonight. It's a really good tester. So far, we've been using Havoc to like kind of estimate where other teams are. Right, we had Batted Overwatch being really low on the tier list, and then they took a map off of Havoc and we shot them up. We had same thing for U New Haven Varsity, right? We had them low on the tier list, and then they took two maps, pushed Havoc to a map 5, a nail biter of a series, and now they're in B tier, quite solidly. So I think the rankings have a lot of shifting that they can do, and I think Ascent has a lot of potential here to show us what they can do. And I think if they even beat Havoc, then we're looking at a complete like this whole tier ranking list. You can just throw in the trash because we're gonna restart from scratch.
I completely agree. If Ascent gives the upset of the century in this tier list, everything just kind of blows up in that sort of scenario. But for right now, I think I'd say that the power rankings can kind of stay as they are. And with that being said, don't forget to use that our code 413 esports for 10% off your next purchase of Rogue Energy. So with that being said, let's get to the match today and what we're going to be looking at for our predictions. Now, I I did say that Ascent would probably be able to take two maps off of Havoc, but ultimately I do think that 413 Havoc will be taking the win today. I think that their control presence, at least their control maps, if it did come down to a map 5, would be absolutely outstanding. They come out the gate with blazing speed, and they really know how to control the control maps. It's fantastically done, and their DPS have a lot of potential to pop off whenever the defensive side of those control points get taken over. But in between the maps, aka the hybrid, if it does come down to a King's Row, that's a dangerous position to be put in. And I would say that Havoc would also have that one as well. What do you think, Suspect?
You know what? I think you're making a really good case here for Ascent, but I think you're giving them too much credit. Like we've been watching Ascent through these past, couple of weeks here, and yeah, they've got some really good power in them, but I don't really see a star among them, right? Like there's no individual person that I'm like, oh my god, yeah, that guy's a hard carry. If I was making an MVP team, I'd want him on it. Whereas, you're looking at Havoc and you're thinking like, okay, I could take Wasant, the Game Boy in a second, right? That those two would be on my MVP team of this league when we're all done. So I think I have to go with Havoc for my prediction. It's just they're the clear winner right now, and I think you're giving them a little too much credit. I think coming into this, Havoc has a lot to prove after going 2-3 with New Haven Varsity, so they're going to come in here pretty strong, and I think they're going to take it like a solid 3-0. That said, if they don't, Ascent's already proven something if they don't get 3-0 here.
Completely agreed. Now, before we get this match started, we just want to have a few quick interviews. The first one being from Ascent. It's going to be MT Blee, one of their tank players, and we're going to be looking to get them in very shortly here. Welcome, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us, MT Blee. How are you feeling right now?
I'm feeling all right. How about you guys?
Doing absolutely fantastic. Thanks for asking. So, 413 Havoc, your opponents tonight. Did you guys prepare anything special for the coming match coming into 413 Havoc?
I'm just gonna leave it at that. We don't intend to break our winning streak. Not today.
There you go, sir. There you go. Absolutely. So, with it being kind of in the middle of the season and everything kind of settling in, what do you think is the keys to your victory in this particular match? This would be a major upset for your team if you were able to even take one or two maps off of this team. They absolutely have a really gripping control. How would you feel if this were to come to be.
I mean, obviously, we go into every match expecting to win. We don't go in like, oh, I hope we take a map. No, we're here to take it all. And I think the key to that is just staying true to the basics, fast rotations, good call outs, and hope for the best.
Absolutely.
Absolutely, full mastery of the basics, and I absolutely love the confidence coming in because if you're not confident going in, you're not gonna walk away with a W. So that's being said, I got a question of my own here. Um, who exactly are you looking out for on Havoc?
Good one. Next question.
Oh, there's a
Ooh.
hell of a lot of firm grasp. He's I think our pre-match interview has a firm grasp on exactly what he's going into, and I think he's not concerned at all. What do you think, Beryl?
I think that this man is ready for anything that Havoc can throw at him. I have complete faith. I am going to have a great time enjoying this match. And thank you, MT Blee, for stopping by. We're gonna let you get back to your team and keep preparing for a fight
Of
of your
course.
life. Thank
Thank
you
you,
so
guys.
much.
Interesting words from our pre-match interview. Apparently, Ascent isn't really considering Havoc to be a threat. What do you take from that, Beryl?
I definitely think that Ascent should definitely not be underestimating their opponent in any stretch of the imagination, but I do think that the confidence that is coming behind his words is going to be extremely useful to getting out of the gate and rolling with it.
Absolutely. And now we have our pre-match interview from Havoc coming in here. Welcome, welcome, welcome to Adamisk. And how are you feeling tonight?
Hey, Beryl. Hey, Suspect. I'm feeling pretty good tonight.
I appreciate it. A man who knows our names. Awesome. So how would you respond to, say a little team called Ascent saying that they really don't think you guys are what you're worth and they don't have any intention on losing tonight?
Well, let me say that I'm a man of statistics and facts, and when you look at the statistics and facts of our record so far, you will see that we are a pretty hard team to beat. In fact, if you look at just the sample size of this season, you would say it's impossible.
I think I can appreciate that logic there. So what are your keys to success coming into this match? Have you prepared it all for Ascent?
We have been preparing for Ascent. We've been looking at some of the VODs there, thinking up some of our mastermind strategies. We got our man Dacus, who's been in and out of those VODs constantly. We've been writing together in the Discord chat about things that we want to do this match. So I really do think we're pretty well prepared for this one compared to how we normally are. We fly by the seat of our pants a lot. So you're about to see a very prepared Havoc, which should strike fear into Ascent's minds.
All right, yes, sir. And thank you so much for that insight. And the last thing that I would leave you with is simply, what do you think is going to be the turnout of this first map? The first map that's going to set the pace. How do you think it's going to turn out?
I think we're going to throw the first map just to give them a sense of accomplishment. I really like Ascent. I want them to have some confidence moving forward in this tournament. So I think if we can give them one map, that would be a good ego booster for them and allow them to finish strong so we can meet them again in the finals.
Setting them up for success down the road so you have an easier opponent later on to crush. I'll take that.
Exactly. Got to nurture them.
Nurture your keys to success. Amen to
Okay.
that.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Adam Skay. And just before we let you go, last little bit tidbit for me. Is there anything individually you would like to say to Ascent?
Ascent, I hope you guys are ready because we have some players here tonight who are really hungry for a win. We haven't yet 3-0'd anyone, and we're really going to try to make that happen tonight, despite what I said about Match 1. So get ready for a team that is undefeated and very hungry for a 3-0.
Absolutely. Cautious words if I were Ascent here, but Ascent doesn't seem to be taking them very seriously. Thank you very much for the interview, Adam Skay, and best of luck with your team tonight.
Thanks. You guys have good time casting too.
Absolutely, sir. Thank you so much. And all right, while Adam Skay gets back to his team, we are going to quickly go into a 3 minute intermission. And then while we are doing that, you guys can grab some quick popcorn, make it all nice and comfy. Maybe get a pillow for yourself, because this is going to be an absolute blast. Make sure to follow And if you wanted to see the rest of this tournament, make sure that you follow our Twitch channel so that you can keep in touch with when we are going to be live, and as well as subscribe to our YouTube channel for any of the VODs that you have not seen yet, or maybe have missed a little bit of at 413e.com/YouTube. And with that being said, we're going to our 3-minute intermission. Don't go away.
All right, welcome, and we're getting into this match. I'm very excited to see. And what's our first map here, Red Barrel?
We're going to be taking a look at Ilios for the first map between Ascent versus Havoc. Now, typically, whenever we take a look at Ilios, we're going to be we're going to be seeing a lot of variety, actually, because Ilios is one of those very dynamic control points, especially during Ruins. Ruins, you have a lot of opportunities because it's such a wide lane. It's going to be quite easy to get either a Widowmaker 1v1, or you can see just a counter dive. But if we're taking a look at the first point that we're going to be on today, it's going to be Lighthouse. Now, typically in this particular tournament, we've seen a lot of just brawl v brawl in this situation, seeing a lot of teams meet in the center via the mini room that is in the center of the map. it leads to a lot of direct confrontation. And of course, whenever Brawl gets control of a point, they love to be able to set up their McCree on the high ground, and as well as just take control of this little center area. It all revolves around what they can burst onto first, and there's a lot of chokes for them to be able to explode onto the teams before they can get set up.
Absolutely, I'm inclined to agree with you. And I know you mentioned something about a Widow 1v1 here, but what I'm most excited about is a Lucio 1v1 we might meet. I mean, the boops on this map are absolutely off the hook. And of course, we see both teams rolling out on completely different composition. You want to tell me a little bit about this, Red Barrel?
Yeah, so we're actually seeing Ascent roll out on a more dive focused kind of composition with MT Blee and AP Flower Child both on the Winston and the Diva respectively, and taking a look at Shadow and Edgy on the Doomfist and the Echo. So they're looking to be more mobile than their opponents at this certain situation with. Excuse me, 413 Havoc being more of a typical brawl with Hanzo and Kree with a little more range.
Yeah, now of course Havoc making this rotation to point is very safe and very secure. Hard to dive into the little room there. Big anti lands on 3, but it's not going to be enough as the MTLB jumps into the backline, gets obliterated by Dak Gameboy, but Edgy's getting fixed on the sides along with Shadow, and that dive is coming through perfectly on the backline as Bang goes down. The Diva is out of mech, but Big Juice is fragging, takes out the Doomfist, but not enough. Bazinga lands the nade, kills another one. That's a huge nade. Twice in a row now from Bazinga, really popping up for his team. However, the Game Boy is not done. He's killing more. He's back in his mech and he's hungry for blood. Apple Flower Child takes out Off-White there. That's a mouthful of a name, but it looks like the Game Boy might escape evasion here. Oh, and he gets out a little sneaky. Oh, and an aggressive monkey jump there. However, met by McCree, has to give space immediately. Almost gives his life for that one. Feeds a little bit of extra alt charge over to Bang. What do you think about that fight, Red Barrel?
Yeah, AP Flower Charger and MT Blee being really good initiators there, making sure that they took the space in such a fast faction. But now, Jump Penny leading the charge onto the point. There's counter dives coming out everywhere. It's just a massive roll onto the point. Slams coming in. All sorts of the immortality field does come down for Big Juice. The Primal will be able to keep MT Blee alive, but the mech does go down for AP Flower Child. And it looks like the damage is still coming in for Ascent, and they will be able to hold the point.
And now, of course, in that rotation around there, they ended up leaving Bang out in the open, and he got immediately clapped on by MTBL and Shadow as they coordinated their dive and just deleted him. However, AP Flower Child is out of mech right now, so there is an opening for the dive. They are sitting on this Nano Monkey in your backline. It's not exactly something fun to walk into, but this Shatter could be big. The sleep onto Game Boy is going to rest them out for 5 seconds here, give that opportunity to get back in mech. Dive comes out, however, the lamp is there. Off-White's already got 3 picks in this fight, and Edgy's just trying to keep up. Not going to be easy. There's the Shatter I was talking about. The Shadow takes out Bang, but that Game Boy is cleaning up as Jump Penny finishes off the 2.
Yeah, that switch from Off-White onto from Hanzo onto Doomfist was well warranted. It allows them to have a little bit more verticality as well as being able to contest some of these mobility characters and kind of put a stop in their tracks. But now Ascent leading onto this high ground for their engage, but Off-White's just sitting in the corner waiting to make something happen. A punch getting charged, but will not find anything. High Noon coming in.
Got a stoning High Noon here, and there's an Off-White ulting in your backline, probably just using it to get out of health because he's at 1 HP. However, they are burning ultimates from the clock, but it tick here as we go up to 28%, and they haven't really gotten in a fight yet. So we'll see if they can make an engage attempt here. The Game Boy still out of mech, so there's the dive target. There's Nano Monkey in your backline. A window, however, gets punched into smacked around by a hammer. Bang goes down, however, Shadow and the Edgy are in your backline. It's not looking good. Down 2 already. The Primal is up if he needs it, but I don't think it's going to be required as the Diva goes out of mech, and there's the follow-up on her. That's just the cleanup as Big Juice is the last man standing here. Let me correct, Dacus is there with him. The 2 supports stalling it out all the way to 51%.
Yeah, it looks like Havoc was able to get a decent amount of percentage on there, but Ascent capping it again, ticking up into last overtime territory. And they are setting up for the dive, but it looks like there's a dive coming in from Havoc. They have to target the point, but they don't get the right positioning.
Primal to get Bang off of this high ground. Bang is just not having a very good game so far. No peel for the lone McCree in the corner. The big bomb takes out both Jump Penny and Game Boy's mech, and MTB finishes off the Game Boy, and Shadow cleans out Off-White, and that's just going to be a dominant first round from Ascent coming in here doing something that we did not honestly think that was going to happen right off the bat.
Yeah, no, it was definitely a start of a composition difference. There was just so much mobility coming out from Ascent. Like MT Blee and AP Flowerchild calling the engages very well as Shadow on that Doomfist getting massive value, and of course Edgy dealing insane amounts of damage. It just everyone on that team was performing up to their standard for that particular composition. But now,
Absolutely, and now we're watching as Havoc looks more towards this double bubble composition with Off-White on this Echo, which I think I like, but you still have to keep an eye out for Shadow here, who's popping off so far this round.
completely agreed, and it looks like Big Juice and Dacus will be sitting on that on a Mercy, as well as J Genro and Bazinga, and we'll have to see.
What do you think about this Diva versus Zarya in these compositions here?
So it's very nice to see. It's very nice to see the Diva onto Ascent, being that they like to keep their mobility, they like to be able to have their damage from all sorts of angles. But the Zarya may allow a more firm position of the host. Of the
A
point.
long-range dive coming in here on the Bang, but it's only going to find one as the Game Boy cleans out Shadow, and the res is going to be there for Bang. Jumpeni goes in the trade, though. Off-White finding Genero is going to be the pick that I think changes the tide of this, is that the Game Boy is just doing lots of damage right now, and AP Flowerchild, he's out of mech. He's been out of mech since the start of the fight. Bang's res already paying off dividends as he takes out both tanks here. He's getting dangerously low. Healed back up quickly, though. That's a huge mercy pocket coming in from Dacus, and the Game Boy just finishes off Edgy as the 15% that they accrued in the early fight. Not going to be enough to finish them out on the final hold.
Look at the ultimate difference coming in for Havoc. Havoc is going to be having that Valk and Off-White with the copy. It is going to be absolutely massive to get a copy onto Ascent's Winston and being able to just completely disorient the Ascent's dive.
Yeah, and now we have the double monkey coming out on this double bubble composition. Shadow's on this flank, though. He's got the McCree. He's looking for the shot, but he gets blocked by a bubble. How unlucky is Jumpeni just happens to have it in the right spot, and that Game Boy cleans out Shadow after Off-White finishes off Edgy in that Echo duel. That is why you have these DPS, and Off-White Bang really showing up in this match as Off-White finishes off another one. Jumpeni going to feed his brains out a little bit to MTB, but that's not going to be enough if the Game Boy finishes off MTB. The Game Boy finishes off the mech of AP Flowerchild. That's going to be a brutal stagger on that Diva if they're not careful.
Yeah, good res onto Jumpeni just to kind of stabilize and make sure that they capitalize on the collection of this point. 50% for Havoc, committing Valk in the previous fight, but we'll have Nano as well as a great Graviton surge by that Game Boy. With the placement of this Graviton, it could mean the end of Ascent on this attack.
Absolutely, and MTB making this awkward change over to the Hog while you still have a Diva that's not really a composition that synergizes very well, let alone could handle a double bubble very well. So it'll be interesting, and a lot of pressure on this Hog. The dude comes out onto the monkey, the grab gets even the Game Boy, throwing that into a Matrix, something he has so himself enjoyed so many times. Bang pops 2 though, Bang pops 3, MTB is popping off, taking off Off-White, but Bang is not going to let it stand. He's got a Mercy Pocket, he's looking to do some damage. Shades of Pine on this point as the Game Boy falls off the map.
And if the Primal does come out from Jumpeni, just messing around with Shadow and trying to get AP Flowerchild's self-destruct off the map, but will not be able to do anything about it. Collapsing on the Hog of MT Blee, and the copy does come out in order to secure the fight, but the point does go over to Ascent. But with Ascent, with little to no resources and very little members, they would be forced to give this point back up to Havoc.
Yeah, and of course Off-White with that Diva duplication is just getting maximum value right now. Shadow doesn't make it back in time to contest. It pops off Bang with his soldier pick. That's a fast man making a miles journey. Bazinga sleeps the Game Boy off the map. What a play from an awesome support player, really putting the team on his backpack, winning the first map for him with antis and the second map with sleeps.
Ascent able to hold this. MT Blee coming back on the Wrecking Ball, just trying to make a quick switch. AP Flowerchild still staying on that Diva, and it looks like if you take a look at Ascent, they really, they're kind of helping, they're kind of bleeding resources at this point, but Edgy will have the copy for the next fight, and hopefully we'll be able to get a Winston of their own to continue with this dive.
Now, of course, the ball can be run in place with the Monkey. He just doesn't do a very good job of holding the space that Monkey would initially take. But if you're not looking to do that, however, Jumpenny's looking to hold some space right now as he comes in aggressively, almost takes out Shadow right off the bat. Off-White's looking to get caught out right now, but Jumpenny's 1 HP, and they've got to surrender for him. And he goes down. Edgy's got the duplicate. He takes out Off-White. Off-White, however, he lands the stickies and takes him out of that duplication form. Thank God, as Dacus reses up Off-White, and Off-White's making it a fight for his life here as he takes on a mech AP Flower Child. Bang pops off Edgy, and that's exactly the kind of picks you need from your McCree. Bang really showing up on this map here after getting shut down so severely on the first one. Jinro gets the res off, but gives his life for the res. The Game Boy finishes off AP Flower Child, but that's not going to be enough. And Nano, the Nano onto the Soldier gets canceled immediately. Jumpenny making a big play with that huge amount of cleave damage, and it's 96% taken up now.
Oh my goodness. And it looks like Bazinga was trying to touch with a beautiful sleep onto Jumpenny, but wasn't able to actually make contact with the point. And that is going to be a 1-to-1 situation for Ascent versus Havoc. Now, this point of Ruins is what I was absolutely wanting to see out of these both these teams. We've seen Bang popping off on that McCree, and I wouldn't hesitate to say that a Widow pick in their future wouldn't be that far off. But of course, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Keep them on the McCree, absolutely. But seeing as Ascent is going to be flipping over to traditional Brawl, switching over to that Creme Lucio Baptiste, and AP Flower Child switching from the Diva onto Zarya. And now we're going to see the battle of the double bubble versus the Brawl, and we'll have to see which team can execute their composition the best.
Importantly, though, Dacus has moved over off of the Mercy onto the Brig. Perhaps an incorrect call against the Brawl comp, because honestly, you'd rather the Mercy mobility and damage boost in this long duration of a fight. Big Juice lands a big sleep onto Shadow, taking out the source of their main damage component early. The Immortality Field falls, MTV gets a little bit too aggressive and gets punished by the Game Boy, someone we're really looking to make plays tonight. Absolute menace. Shadow takes off Off-White in the back line, but the Game Boy's still making plays on the front line. You can't keep up. As lone Zarya taking out Orion Zarya is not what you want to see. Jinro gets that move onto Dacus, though. That is not what you need if you're Havoc trying to cap this point. Bang takes out Jinro, though. That's exactly what you need. Taking out that Red Lucio. Off-White moves over to this Widow pick. Could get huge value here. Big Juice goes down. 2 digs from Shadow, and Shadow's just going off right now as he's on 3 right now for this game alone. That Game Boy could not stall long enough, and just as the first map, 13% is not enough to hold on to the point in the long term, and the Brawl wins out.
There's the Off-White middle maker. Now, I was expecting kind of Bang being the hit scan player in order to take that position, but it looks like Off-White is going to add to the hit scan pool and begin just trying to shred Ascent's backline. And they are scared. They cannot absolutely peek anywhere, and Jumpenny's just taking advantage of the free space. Bang on that off angle. This fight is not looking good for Ascent so far.
But Shadow hits epic shots and puts Bang into a position that he needs to regen health a little bit, and then immediately shuts down the jive from Jumpenny, hitting him with the stun and a couple dinks. Very scary life for Jumpenny as he dives in again and immediately gets bursted. Bang has this ultimate, though. He's waiting them off the point as they get the cap through. That's huge value. A solo high noon for any percentage is really amazing value. The Widow's on this angle, poking in damage. Shadow's low, getting scared, but Edgy pulls off the long range shot. That's exactly why Mei is so strong. No damage falls off makes her so powerful against long range characters. And it's just gonna be cleanup as the Brawl engages onto the core of the double bubble composition.
The double bubble without being, I mean, they are supported by that Widow, but just not a lot of damage that can be directly placed. If the Widow doesn't have a sightline, she doesn't have a sightline, and needs to either make herself more vulnerable by picking up a position that is less favorable but maybe offers some more sights, or just frankly not getting any value at all.
Now the Nano Monkey's in the back line, and there's a huge anti onto the support. They're going to go down quickly. Off-White's made the switch over to the Echo here, and he's getting value already. The Echo gets this huge angle from above that nobody can really contest, and Off-White's going to pop off one Jumpenny, another Edgy goes down. And it looks like the point's going to go to the way of Havoc here as they're winning this fight out off of, honestly, just a Nano and a Primal. Shadow was forced to use the pre-high noon there and only gets one after going down. Off-White finishes off AP Flower Child, and that's going to be just a lone stall on the point right now as it goes down. And 93% though, you'll take that as Shadow moves over to this Ashe.
Yeah, Ascent, all they really need to do now is just bank ultimates and then dump them onto the point in order to get a full team kill and resist the stall from Havoc. But in this sort of situation, Ascent started out in that previous fight so cohesively together, and now they just need to make sure that they keep that cohesion and keep that ability to burst targets quickly in this dive.
Early projected bubble comes out, not really getting the value it needs to, and then the grab comes through, and there's a duped Reinhardt on the field swinging into the grab. Not going to be able to shatter quite fast enough, but the beat came out and didn't get much value, just sustaining him through the graviton. Bang finally picks off that main tank, and that's really not what you want to see if you're the side of Ascent here. You require that main tank to anchor your team, and as soon as he goes down, the rest of Ascent's quick to follow as the Game Boy cleans off, and Bang is just getting these damage on the sideline. Jump Penny flanks, takes out Shadow, and says, "Get out of my video game," as it sits at 70%, ticks up.
Everyone is dealing really good damage on the side of Havoc, and everyone is getting a frag in return. Off-White finding some good cleanup, as well as Jumpany making some very good calculated dives onto this target after losing MTV. But MTV rotating onto the ball, supposedly for stall, but I mean, they had plenty of percentage. They didn't quite need to do that. The grab doesn't find anything, and the freeze will find the Kree. But Jumpany does get nanoed, but walled off.
Regardless, though, Off-White's just fragging out your backline. He's got 2, and the Game Boy's got 2 as well. Dacus reses up Bang, and it's like your damage never really went through. But Off-White here, he's got a 3rd now. He's brutal. He's a menace in your backline, and it's over for Ascent on this map as Havoc takes the first map.
It was a good attempt by Ascent to be running that brawl comp into the double bubble, but you just needed a little bit more cohesion, a little bit more target focus, getting in the correct areas and making sure that you capitalize on those main walls. Absolutely. Amazing punches and combos coming in from Off-White. That's what you want to see from your Doomfist player.
Absolutely, a neat little 3K for Off-White coming in here, looking to be a replacement for the hard carry that we all know Croissant to be, and already living up to the shoes that big shoes that he's got to fill. Great first map coming up from both teams. I don't think you could honestly say that Havoc dominated that by any means. However, they do edge out the win, and it'll be Ascent's map pick next. We're going to go to a quick 3-minute intermission, but if you're enjoying this so far, please follow us on Twitch, give us a subscribe on YouTube, and hey, if you're liking this casting so much, give us a subscribe here too, because you know what? This stuff can keep coming to you, especially if you want to see it. This is prime time Overwatch, and we're coming right back to you after this short intermission. Welcome back, everybody, and we're getting ready for our second map here, and I am excited down the barrel. That was an extremely close map. What are your feelings about that, and what map are we going into next, Barrel? Give it to me. I'm so hype.
So, debriefing the last map, it was definitely a lot closer than what we were anticipating, for sure. Ascent bringing out their dive and was actually able to give a pretty convincing victory onto Lighthouse, but progressively just seemed to get a little bit worse. But now we are heading into the one and only King's Row, and taking a look at this is going to be the epitome of what Overwatch should be, and I cannot wait to see how these teams perform. But taking a look at these particular teams, I do think that we should mention that we have substitutions coming in for Ascent. We have Omu Tofu in the place of AP Flower Tile, which is going to be Tofu in the past being their Reinhardt player, if I'm not mistaken. So they are going to be using that. And if we take a look at the compositions coming out, Ascent leading in with their traditional brawl. No McCree, though. They're going to be sticking with a Hanzo Mei. So
I'm not sure how I like this. Like, I understand that you subbed out Shadow, who's probably your hit scan player, and put in Haunt. Not totally sure about that sub either, because you're kind of risking yourself up to, like, if they want to run Angry Birds or any far in the sky at all, super dangerous. That said, you know, like, Hanzo definitely provides a lot of spam. And Grab Dragon is an ultimate combo for just taking back a losing fight. I don't think the Game Boy and Off-White are actually going to play these picks. Off-White's not sure for, and the Game Boy is not XQC. Of course, he's going to go over to the Diva. We'll see how this plays out.
Absolutely. So Off-White just looking for that initial pick with the Widowmaker, I'm sure. But then now it's swapping over to the traditional ball, and we are off to the races, as it looks like the wall does come in for Ascent, and Jumpany will be caught out. But the break comes in even quicker. Oh, Tofu getting an immaculate charge that won't find anything, and will be walled off in the process.
Lamps and walls traded, but you lost your Ryan in that exchange. I think Tofu kind of makes an aggressive play and gets punished for it. Another wall goes up on either side. Neither of these walls are nearly as good as the first ones, but I think the engagements from the Havoc is just kind of slow here. Like, you're up your Reinhardt, you need to be a lot more aggressive than this. The Reinhardt's already back in the fight, and the walls are going off again. Jumpenny's frozen. He's looking dangerously low. I'd be scared if I was Havoc right now. The window goes up, and the pin goes through, taking out Jinro. That's exactly the kind of picks you need. Not, however, Haunted taking out Jumpenny. That is a bad pick. The window makes up for the loss of the main tank, but not going to be clean at all. Going to be a rather scrappy fight. However, with 3-minute tank bank, I think I'll take that from Havoc.
You know, Havoc being very happy with that victory, albeit a very scrappy fight, as you had mentioned before. Coming into this next fight, Bang is going to be having that high noon, which if he doesn't get picked here in the bookstore, Bang needs to play a little safe here, being the only ultimate, albeit behind Dacus's beat. I would not be surprised to see a pretty aggressive push from Havoc here once the cart is passing up to this corner.
Absolutely. Now, if I'm Ascent coming in here, you may ult them. You have to be careful of the Diva.
Watch the Zarya. Watch the MT Bleed Zarya. The grab on behind tries to be eaten by that
what
game
an amazing grab. There's a grab and a mail. It's invested in that fight. Perhaps an overinvest, but a worthy overinvest if it's going to secure the fight. However, not a lot of kills coming from it. Big shatter, big bomb. Oh my god, there's a 5k in my lobby. What a play. Jumpenny into Game Boy absolutely cleaning and showing the superior tank duo in that situation.
Ooh, Tofu coming back. I won't even talk about that fight anymore. That was just decisively won by Havoc. But taking a look at the next fight, Tofu coming in with the Shatter, as well as Hantu with possible follow-up from the Dragon Strike. And not many ultimates to speak of except for Big Juice coming up on the window, which will be able to give just a little bit more space. But in this close quarters, Tofu with the Shatter is going to be looking for it.
Oh, but that Game Boy launches on that ultimate there, and the Shatter comes through, only landing on Jumpenny. So Jumpenny's going to get very low, but the beat is going to come out to try and finish him as the Immortality Field fades, and so does Jumpenny. He goes down. Big Juice, however, frags through his own window, taking out MTD. And the Game Boy, however, not willing to finish this out, takes out Tofu, and it's going to look the way of Havoc right now, as there's more tanks currently alive for Havoc. That said, no Reinhardt, so a lot of damage is going to stick, but And it looks like MTB and Tofu is going to switch their roles. One's going to go back to main tank, and the other one's going to go to off tank. Kind of a weird champ here is you've reset your grab charge, and you have dragons. That said, they've been kind of out of rotation this whole fight, so it's going to be kind of gnarly coming into your... You do have Mei ults on either side, so it's going to come down to who's better.
Yeah, the positioning of these males coming into this fight, as well as the possible follow-up from Bang's High Noon, could absolutely make the change in this fight. But the wall does come down. Jump Penny is going to make a long rotation to get out of there.
Great wall, great High Noon coming out. Dragons try and split, but not going to get save Jinro's life as the Immortality field goes down, and the Ryans are already low on resources. It's against, looks to be a clean sweep from Havoc right now as they come in with a 4-minute tank bank. I'm not sure if this Reddit Lucio can touch in time. It looks like they probably can, but it's going to be close as the payload gets closer and closer, and nope. That wall from Off-White's going to seal the deal as nobody can touch, and Bang pops Jinro in the rollout.
Whew. If you're Ascent right now, you are quaking in your boots. That time bank is dastardly, and I cannot imagine. I can't imagine the reason for the swap in roles from Empty Bleed to Tofu. I can understand possibly trying to like reset a mental, but you have to put your players onto their best characters. You have to put your players on the best heroes that they can be. And in this particular situation, it just looked like there was some miscommunication, maybe a little bit of lack of comfort in Ascent, trying to make a drastic change in order to make something happen. You know what they say: drastic times come from drastic measures. But
Absolutely, but I think, you know, the real root of the problem was Haunted using that dragon on the first point, you know, trying to win that very scrappy first fight, and then he was just constantly out of rotation for the grab dragon combo. You know, they were forced to use both of their CC ultimates, the grab and the blizzard at the same time, and then they just really didn't have the follow-up damage to finish it out. And now they're looking to do a dive on King's Row. This is something I don't think I've seen in this entire tournament is dive on King's Row. Definitely a viable strategy here, but they're not running double bubble, so it's kind of like old meta kind of stuff here. What do you think, Red Bear?
I think that this is going to be a great display of what Overwatch could be on this particular map, because King's Row is always notoriously a Reinhardt map, but we will have to see the damage coming in from Edgy might just be overwhelming in this kind of ranged poke that you can get out of Echo, but also just the burst from Dive. It might be able to dissect. It will be able to dissect the slow Havoc composition if
I
they
might be
don't react
inclined
fast.
to agree with you, but the Game Boy here is just looking to munch on all those Echo Stickies. A huge anti on Penny, though, immediately looking to follow up. Off-White, however, taking out Bazinga, and that's the problem. Edgy gets banged, though. That's a huge pick in your backline. Respawn time, of course, being longer for the defenders, as it looks like MTB is looking to get that big juice, and however, the lamp goes up to save him, and MTB gets so low, and Penny swinging for the high heavens there as he throws his hammer back and forth, not getting any kills right away, but is getting that damage in. So hard to dive. Melee characters, they have so much damage, but not enough range. So you really don't want to close that range with them. MTB looking to get frozen here. Not going to be a happy life for him. His pin almost lands. Bang takes out Haunted, though. Of course, there's already a counter, right? You're running that trace, but you're running it right into McCree with that stun. Tofu and the dupe onto the Reinhardt are out, and they're looking to take this fight. It looks like Ascent might be a better dive team than any other team in this league currently, as they seem to be bringing it right now against Havoc. My apologies, as Haunted takes that big juice back from spawn. Penny gets that spawn kill and then MTB, but I don't think it's going to be enough to sustain this fight, and it looks like it's going to go the way of Ascent. That said, Off-White making this move onto the Reaper. What do you think about?
So the Reaper is going to be absolutely able to shred any close range attacks that Ascent are going to be doing. And of course Dive, with it being short range characters like Winston, like D.Va, and of course being tanks. The tank buster is just gotta be called out. So Off-White opting to go for a little bit of a flanking position here, but will be able to punish if anything is dived onto the tanks. But at this current moment, the action's all happening in the front.
Haunted absolutely putting in work here as Edgy finishes out the cleave, and MTB goes aggressive on the backline. Penny's making a move for spawn, and he's looking to take MTB with him. Takes him with him again. MTB falls to Penny in the end fight, proving that MTD, but the rest of the team is just stepping up right now. And currently, Havoc is sitting on like 5 ultimates. They haven't been able to use it. The engagers are just coming through too fast.
And that's the one thing that if they are going to be staying on this brawl, Havoc has to be able to make those quick decisions with either the speed boost in order to kite correctly, in order to not be taking all of that damage from this dive. But the dive, very possible and is planning to be working, but the window coming in, and plus the high noon.
Primal in your backline, getting shredded. 1,000 HP feed over to Bang, and he gets another high noon pretty soon if you're not careful. Big bomb comes out, but the shatter's just as big. Puts MTB on the ground, but Edgy's going big, takes out Jumpeni. Off-White not looking very healthy. To Game Boy looking to be that carry once again. He gets low, he gets taken out of mech. The backline's looking healthy, but the front line's not doing so well. Almost Tufu takes out the Game Boy, and they're looking to make a statement here on King Zero. The dive can, in fact, be run, and this is why Brawl is not the king here.
And though it looks like a stall coming in from Daxis, an absolutely major stall in order to let most of the other team come back in. Jumpeni is sleeping on the job, but will he be able to find anything? No, he's just
the Echo duplicate bomb just takes out the entirety of your backline, and it looks like a Diva diff right now as they're coming through. There's 2 Divas though, not quite fair for the Game Boy. You can't really keep up when there's 2 of you on the field. And they're going into this final phase here, almost beating Havoc's time bank. Not quite, but it's going to be an impressive push nonetheless, especially from a dive team on King's Row.
Ascent playing very well into this composition from Havoc. The bomb will come out, but won't be able to find anything. Bazinga finding the sleep onto Big Juice.
Sleep. He gets immediately bursted. What a play. Big Juice caught out of position, and Bazinga has not been missing tonight. This Ana is making all of the difference in the world. The reason they're able to do this composition so convincingly is these antis keep landing. The sleeps keep landing at the most important times. And now we're going into the 3rd point, and Dakas is forced to go over to the break just to sustain their backline a little easier.
The Ascent supports are really safe here. Like they absolutely aren't going to be touched by anything that Havoc can throw at them because they have double tanks in their backline. The Primal does come up onto Bang. The juggles are real, but the lamp does come out from Big Juice, but he will just be getting juggled in the corner and eventually will be caught out of position without any heals. But a good attempt on trying to get good damage onto both the healer and the DPS that has been keeping up this particular brawl comp. 3 minutes on the clock for Ascent, sitting on both support ults as well as a lot in the bank. This is going to be a massive fight.
Absolutely, but if you're came into that, you used 1 ultimate. Bang used his high noon and only the high noon, and then they won just off of that. So now the Blossoms in your backline, and there's a lot of DM to eat all that up, but Off-White's still going to find Jinjiro, and Edgy's still going to go down. So now it's looking to be like a 2v4. You have to back out. MTB is just going to take a little extra damage, feel a little ult charge over, but the Game Boy's just getting closer and closer, and Bang's already 50% of that ultimate. Off-White looking to aggress this, take huge damage out onto this Reaper. Reaper's gonna have to fade and get out, but there's still lots of ultimates on either side. 5-pack of ultimates coming in from Ascent here.
And the nade used aggressively by Bazinga, but wasn't able to find anything. Edgy. Oh, the pulse coming in to Big Juice while he was above the Immort, and the bomb not being able to provide anything but a shield. But the frags are coming in with the nano to MT bleed, getting lots of damage onto that Game Boy. And the cloned Edgy will be able to just delete anything on the card.
Bang really looking to make the difference here on this map as he's popped off 3 just in that losing fight alone. Jumpeni pins to card, immediately bursted. Echoes is not a fun character to play against, not a fun world for an empty. The Primal again is on a Big Juice. Big Juice is looking to frag it just like he did last time. Big damage from Edgy, taking out Dakas, however. Big Juice not so fortunate this time. The Game Boy gets a big bomb, stalls out the card a little bit longer. They're down to a minute now on the cart. Can they get it into OT? Can they get it to the bottom line, make it a win or draw or lose situation? But I don't think they're going to be able to. Jumpeni's spinning to win. They have no stuns except Hanut 2 is back on the Kree. He gets that stun off, gets those kills. The Brig rallies out. That's so much sustain though. It's so hard to kill the raid boss. They're trying their hardest, but there's not a lot of damage. The Nano Monkey comes out. That's going to help with the damage department. That Game Boy's going to lose his mech and get instantly bursted out of it. They're just the stall. The anti-gun to the break though is going to make it a lot easier. Double high noons coming out either way. Bang looking to be the carry for his team again. Not going to quite get it Off-White, however, getting that Blossom out after Bang cleans out the mech, and it's going to be free. However, Haunted's going to shut it down. Haunted on a 4K right now as he takes out Big Juice, and that's going to be all she wrote. Down to into the under a minute, but not into the overtime like perhaps Havoc would have wanted.
That was amazing. I could not have asked for more. I think I could be wrong, and production can fact check me on this, but I believe that that's the first time that we saw dive on King's Row. Absolutely. And seeing as how that went against a team like Havoc, it was refreshing to see. It was different, and it was honestly they played to their strengths. Ascent with a crazy good tempo for the dive, and they knew when they had the advantage, they knew when they had the disadvantage. But
Honestly, though, like, you really saw why Brawl is so much stronger on this map. You know, they were able to hold first point for, like, a decent amount of time, and then they were able to hold third point for an incredible amount of time. Like, they came into third point with 4 minutes and 16 seconds on the clock, and they ended third point under a minute, right? So, like, Brawl is just so hard to get and displace on Kings Row kind of maps. I think they're playing to their strengths right now, but if they don't adapt quickly, they only have a minute. They're not going to build bomb or dupe in a minute unless they're really, really good. So they've got to be really careful going into this fight. You're not really playing for ultimates. Haunted moving over to that Widow could be big, though.
Hantu on that Widowmaker probably just looking for an initial pick, but Havoc playing a little bit smarter. They know that the dive is coming, and they're going to be playing into the correct position in order to be able to maneuver either through Hotel to prevent any vertical damage from Edgy, or just any particular rotation. But Bang will find Edgy in the neutral. The res has to come out.
Worst case scenario. If that res doesn't come out, you're looking from 2 fight down to 1 fight, and this setup's taking just so long. Haunt, you almost gets rotated on by Jumpenny as they look for an aggressive maneuverment. Off-white getting a little low, but they're going to be just fine. They're going to regroup in their spot, and it's down to 16 seconds, 15 seconds. How are they going to touch? They have to get a dive off. The ante has to be big. The wall goes up, the ante is big, finds Zakas to jump Penny, but I don't know if it's going to be enough as they're trying to sustain this front line. The Mei is going to stall in this cryo mode for a little bit as the Reinhardt rotate back around. A lot of damage coming out from either side. The Game Boy's going to frag though, take out 2. That's exactly what you need. Takes out a third one. Jump Penny is on the front line, takes out Baby and Bang, hops off onto you in the Kree diff, 1v1. Not really, it's kind of a 6v1 dream for Hantu, but it's going to be cut short after a minute of no ticks and really no space or movement. A really slow dive that really didn't get any value.
Yeah, I mean, if you are Ascent, you're wanting to set up correctly for that kind of dive, but the amount of unnecessary poke that was taken and the heals that had to come out, it just threw the tempo out. They could have tried to have at least 2 fights, or maybe 1.5 at that. But in that sort of situation, they only had 1 chance, and in such a close quarters and trying to dive into them, the brawl was just superior in that sort of closed environment.
Well, and in all honesty, like, it's not like they had a whole lot of option, right? Like, you're running dive on that kind of a point, you really only have like a couple of access points, so you have to try and get as many access points as you can. But taking that kind of time out of your rotation, you really have to guarantee the fight win if you're going to do that, because if you don't, you're burning an entire fight getting into position, and then an entire fight just on the fight. If you lose, then that's all your marbles. Now they're rolling up on another unorthodox composition. We're seeing double shield now on this map. We see Orisa. There's a horse in my lobby, and I want a refund. This isn't King's Row. I swear to God, I'm looking at Route 66. I'm looking at Havana right now.
Absolutely, but the double shield might be able to sustain, but they need to be able to time their drop onto the point correctly. Havoc only needs 1 tick in order to take this.
And a great wall to block off any transitional damage from Off-White. Maybe he's going to want that later on, but they have all the time in the world, in all honesty. They can just play Ring Around the Rosie with this team as long as they want. I think Jumpenny just needs to touch point, get underneath them, and then force the drop. There's the wall. The wall is massive as it cleans out Omtufu, and it's just going to be so devastating losing your Orisa early. You can't have that. They're on the point contesting, but MTV is not going to last very long. Edgy goes down quickly after Bang pops off Hantu, and Omtufu is just going to go AFK and spawn. He knows it's over. It's GG's. Going to the ball for the stall. He's never going to get there. That's going to be GG's. That's 2 maps going away of Havoc. A great attempt. I think trying something unorthodox is a great way to try and beat an S-tier team, but if you're not going to run that unorthodox perfectly, then you're not going to beat an S-tier team. And I think on their first offense, they caught Havoc unaware. On the second one, they didn't. They took way too long.
And no, with Havoc being able to... Oh, I just want to watch this for a second. That was satisfying.
Bomb. Oh my God.
That was absolutely satisfying. Thank you for that Game Boy. But yeah, just taking a look at King's Row and the unorthodox comps that Ascent tried to run in order to beat Havoc. You're absolutely right. They need to be practiced and they need to be prepared, because the rotation that Havoc took is something that they need to account for absolutely and be able to kite back accordingly. But you can only kite back so much against a brawl comp with constant speed. But to that end, that will be King's Row, and we will be back after a 3-minute intermission. If you are enjoying the content that we are providing with you guys, be sure to give us a big old Amazon Prime sub. It'd be very much appreciated. It will continue to allow us to make this kind of production level of content, as well as keep giving you these tournaments and this access to 413. And with that all being said, let's go ahead and go to our 3-minute intermission.
Welcome back, everybody, and we're jumping into a third map, the nail biter of a series. You know, what are you feeling so far about this series, Beryl?
I think that it's been really explosive. We've seen a lot of diversity in the compositions that have been run, and a lot of diverse ways that a team can be thinking about a particular map. And no map has really been played out the same. It's been really good in the sense of that each team really seems to know fundamentally what they're trying to do, and that they just needed the little bit of individual execution here and there in order to make it work. For example, on that last King's Row map, a lot of different attempts by Ascent to take something into their favor with their particular dive that they decided to run, but it just would not prevail against these hard moving just hunk of a tank that Havoc was. So with that being said, we are still in for a map 3, and we could see anything coming into this next map being Route 66.
Honestly, Beryl, talk to me about these compositions that Ascent's been running, though, because they feel kind of like outdated, if you're asking me. Like, Havoc's coming out here with the Brawl, with the Diva, that we've been seeing so much of, and then also with the double bubble on Ilios, right? And we're going back and we're thinking about this, and it's like they've pretty much just been running like they ran Brawl a little bit, but it wasn't really good. They've run like really good dive, but like not a double bubble, so it's like kind of getting beat. Because at this point, double bubble's just kind of like dive, but better, just because of the state of the game right now. And then they tried the double shield, which might have worked, but it was kind of like you're also surrendering point presence for this double shield, and the mobility of Brawl just kind of like beats you out if you're not on multiple angles. So what are your thoughts here, Beryl?
Yeah, no. So the reason that Brawl is going to be one of the best compositions to be running, at least in our particular level that we are running for this tournament, is sustainability. It is a resource-based game. As I've said before in the past, it's a game of inches, not a game of feet. And whenever it comes down to individual play, it can be kind of curved with the ability to throw an immortality field and save you. In double bubble, it's an easy ability to prevent your Winston from getting slept by giving them a bubble on entry of their dive. It's all about the protection and defensive play while still being able to explode out, basically without repercussion. So using these resources in the correct way is absolutely paramount in these sort of modern compositions.
Absolutely, I'm inclined to agree. And of course, if any of you out there are looking to become the next player on Havoc and really, bring it to Ascent, because I don't know, you have an anger rage for Ascent, or if you want to bring it to WV Mountaineers, you can join the next 4-3 team currently in creation, or you can join an existing team just by jumping into our Discord. Everyone is welcome. It's in the Twitch posting. If you go to our YouTube, there's a Discord link there as well. Get involved in the community. It's an awesome community of gamers. Barrow, why don't you tell me a little bit of your 4-3 experience while we're getting into this match?
Yeah, so my 4-3 experience started out very, very simply put in getting into basically a looking for team. The 413 scouts were able to pick me up, and they were able to schedule me a tryout, and from there I was able to be put on the academy team. Shortly afterwards, I was spotted and scouted up by one of the 413 teams, being early in its creation but still looking for a decent dense roster. Was tried out and put quickly on that team. So to be truthful, I don't have much of the academy experience, but from what I can tell by the way that the process is run, is you simply, once you are allowed to be on the academy team through tryout, then you play with those tryouts, and you play with your fellow academy members until you are either scouted by another team, or if you were able to make the rivals team that we designate the tryouts to be, you can create your own team and create your own 413 team. And also, don't forget that if you're a prospective team that is looking for maybe an organization or an umbrella to fall under, that we also accept full-fledged teams as well, albeit that it meets our criteria.
Absolutely, and you could be the next Game Boy or Croissant popping off in our matches here, but let's get into the match as we go. The dive is in the trailer, and I don't think anyone knows as the train car comes out, and there's the trio that's in there. Awkward angle, not really going to get a lot of healing from there on, as they're going to quickly have to fall back. Kind of a feat if you ask me, but Bang goes severely low, and Dacus is creeping up, an angry Brigitte ready to slam some faces of some monkeys, and I wouldn't want to be that monkey who gets instantly bursted off of that. AP Flower Child is going to pop off and take out Jumpenny, though, and that's going to be an even trade out in the end. And once again, we're seeing this, dive comp of an old era going up against this modern day double bubble, and it's going to be awkward and difficult to try and pull it off. Of course, doable, but you're really relying on your individual talent. What are you thinking about this, Barrel?
Yeah, no, there must have been a miscommunication and or a little bit of overconfidence because putting 3 people in the front line and having the other 3 postured all the way in the back of the gas station, just not what you want to be having. Jumpany being forced to fall back here, and will be getting picked off by Shadow. It's a little bit of a neutral fight right now as the card is still moving for Havoc.
However, they are up in the numbers, so Ascent is going to take this opportunity. They're going to dive that backline. Not exactly a squishy backline, though, as they're fighting on a frig. They are going to finally get the kill, but Off-White's already killed 2 in the backline, and he's looking for a third onto... oh, but Bazinga sleeps Off-White. What a play from the Ana player, and the Game Boy is just going to take a swift little walk off the map as it looks to be time for him to leave. Jumpany going to try and do something similar as he jumps out, but he's going to get a lot of damage put into him on his way out. And there's a Primal and a Nano already prepared for the side of Ascent. What do you think going into this next fight?
You know, the rotations from both Ascent and Havoc are definitely going to be revolved around the Primal Rage. The ability to be, oh, well, and then the copy comes in, both monkeys diving in sync, going to be forcing Shadow off into a very uncomfortable position, and as well as Bazinga being pressured. It just looks like Ascent is getting just pushed back into a corner, while Havoc just takes free cart.
Absolutely. Shadow is on an off angle right now looking for picks, but he's not quite finding them off the bat. And the double monkey dive already opened up a lot of space. However, Shadow finally finds that pick on a bang, and now he's looking for Big Juice. Already pops a body shot into him, but there's a bubble to sustain him, and there's an Off-White in your face. Not going to look very healthy in a very short amount of time as Off-White finds that kill just by the skin of his teeth. Jinjiro gets stuck and killed immediately, but the Game Boy is going to fall on the front line. And now it's just like a cleanup as Jumpany's seemingly the last person on point. He's going to go for that Primal. The hero play time as the monkey is on the field. He's juggling Hantu into the back line, killing him out. And now it's Shadow's turn. There's a angry Jumpany in my lobby, and he's ready to take the pain to him. He regroups with his team, and they're going to have a quick engage on in this next fight as Bang is already taking this poke. Penny already jumping back in. Off-White's poking out at this Shadow, but Shadow's not really scared. He's got a D.Va to peel back for him.
Havoc playing a really aggressive style here, not letting any space be wasted, especially while the respawns are coming in for Ascent. Ascent's backed into a corner. AP Flowerchild is the only one sitting on point, and they will be able to cap pretty convincingly.
Bang goes absolutely massive in that fight between the Bob that kills the D.Va mech and Baby entirely, and the Dynamite that finishes off Shadow, and that's all you really need from your Ashe players to consistently be putting out that kind of damage while still getting those picks that the Widow can do.
An aggressive grab from Dak Gameboy to try to get MT Blee out of the fight before they begin their roads phase.
Absolutely, and this streets phase here is going to be very difficult for Shadow to set up with Bang already on this high ground. The sights come out, so there's an advantage. You technically have wall hacks, one of those ultimates that kind of a lot of people question, and Off-White's just going to burst Shadow out of the air. That's that power that comes with running this Echo. The McCree really has to get that kind of equal value, or he's just going to get diffed right now. A lot of ultimates ready for either side. The Primal's out, and MTB is in your backline. Jumpany answers with his own Primal. They're angry, they're going in aggressive. Shadow makes his move over to the Ashe. I think I agree with that, but Bang's already taken out MTB, and Shadow has to move over to the Tracer. There's a long time spent in spawn, and Jumpany's in your backline, taking out Bazinga, and Bazinga just wants to live. He just wants to play the game, man. Off-White takes out Jinro, and Jumpany finishes off on Hantu. Is lucky that Shadow has recall because Off-White is going full on aggressive, goes right into spawn almost and takes out Shadow, just barely gets away by the skin of his teeth. And now they're taking, like, it seemed like second point wasn't even really a fight. They just kind of walked through that. There's the aggression coming out from Havoc right now.
It's the aggression that allows them to continue to take that space and take fights whenever Havoc wants to take fights. And now Jumpany switching over to the Rhine for the third point of Route 66, quite a common occurrence, seeing as how limited the dive potential is on this particular point. And the Bob will be able to just continue to take AP Flowerchild out of their mech.
Absolutely, but despite the picks going either way, Shadow does get the one clip on the Bang in the backline. He's definitely looking to be the difference maker here in this fight. And Shadow is still in his backline, proving around, but Off-White's answering with the same. He takes out Hantu, and that's not going to be what you really need. Big Juice has this nano, especially onto Jumpany here, just makes so much space. And Bazinga has nano of his own, but it's hard to answer with a nano monkey. Not really going to get the same kind of value as a nano Rhine. Nano Rhine just becomes so unkillable. They're fighting over this high ground. Hanchu takes out Off-White. That's the kind of picks you need going into this fight. That's how you set up yourself for success. And Off-White probably gonna have to want to switch pretty soon. Jumpenny gets that Nano. That's exactly what we're talking about. Nano Monkey versus Nano Ryan. Let's see who gets more value. Jumpenny's already anti, but he's in your backline. One taps the Tracer. That Fire Strike is so strong. MTB takes out Dax's, and backlines are falling on either side between an LH Cloudy Reinhardt, standard everyday Monkey. Looks like Monkey's gonna get the better of this one. Shadow goes over to that Sombra, and Off-White moving over to that Doomfist, so an instant counter onto the Doomfist if you're Ascent, and you're feeling pretty good about this composition. You have a lot of ultimates coming up. What are you thinking, Barrel?
Well, Shadow is now sitting on that Sombra and setting themselves up for position, and Off-White switching over to the Doomfist, so that is about to get really brawly here. So with a lot of ultimates being set up for Ascent, they really do have the advantage with jumping the attacking. The Shatter does come out, Hantu deeply, and the bomb to follow up finds Hantu.
Ryan is hacked right now, but the Immortality Field is going to sustain them all, and there's an angry Monkey in your backline. Jumpenny gets extremely low, gets finished by the MTB. The mech is taken away by Hanchu, and that's a huge pick coming out from MTB, making all the space in the world. The bomb comes out, not really going to find anything off the bat, but a decent try. Bang's got this high noon commanding the space. Hack almost comes through for Shadow, but it's instantly deleted. Off-White putting him back in the spawn room for now, and Off-White puts Hanchu in the spawn room too. This fight is still winnable. Jumpenny's coming back from spawn. Off-White is on a mission right now, and he's got his ultimate to get out if necessary. Shadow moves over to the Doomfist as well, says, hey, I can play that too. Bang takes Bazinga out, though. That's not how you want to start this fight. Coming in on the Doomfist, and they already have beat, so your one punch doesn't really get the kill that you needed to. And Dacus just frags Shadow. Absolutely massive play. Bazinga hits a great anti onto Big Juice, but it's not going to be enough follow-up as Off-White is in your backline, just tearing people limb from limb. MTB does not touch the point. He kills Big Juice, but that's just an ego pick at that point, as they do manage to full cap Route 66.
Route 66 being taken by Havoc on their first aggression and played very convincingly. Havoc being able to keep up their tempo in their favor whenever they wanted to fight, and that is an absolutely large tool that one cannot understate. The ability to fight and strike first. Strike while the iron's hot, as they say.
Absolutely. That ability to like choose when the fight be all alone on the high ground, and he's going to get 4v1 and bursted pretty quickly if he doesn't get out of there. As it looks like Jumpenny is going to do something similar, but it's a 2v1 there, so they're winning the exchanges here, and Anti goes out, and AP Flower Child is taking a lot of damage. Big bubble onto Jumpenny allows him to maintain this space for even longer, and this is where that double bubble shines to its max effect, and Bang pops an MTB. Jinjiro goes for an aggressive res, it gets punished by Jumpenny, and Off-White takes out Shadow. Hantu finishes Off-White in that Tracer duel, but I don't think it's going to be enough as Hantu is forced to go back. An aggressive over-the-shot nade, could it land?
Does it?
Nope, it doesn't.
Nope,
It just gets a little bit of extra healing on AP Flower. I was so excited. I thought that was going to hit the high ground. I was going to scream Kobe to the ears. But Off-White didn't go into this this Pulse Bomb. Going to be probably the first ultimate we see on this field, unless Bazinga can charge this this Nano Boost really quickly. Shadow, however, takes out Bang, says no ultimate required. I'm just going to click heads. It's just GG's. I click heads. Bang goes back to spawn, and he's not exactly expecting that in the slightest. Big anti on the MTV. He's going to go down on an aggressive dive force. That's what this double bubble allows. It allows for peel, but also it allows for your Monkey to sustain through those kinds of antis because of the bubble's presence. And Jumpenny's going to do the exact same thing that MTV did, a deep dive onto the backline, but he's going to get out for free, except for Hanchu, who peels back with a Mercy. It's a 3v1, and Jumpenny just dies, just falls over, goes back to spawn. MTB moving over to this ball, a little more sustain, a little less holdy spacey, but Off-White has been popping off right now.
Yeah, Off-White.
MTB giving up 80% of his primal for this ball pick, so he better be looking to get a lot of value here as Penny has his primal, can rotate into that nano. Going to be a difficult fight to win, but not when Hanchu takes out Off-White off the bat. Just like that, the double hit scan is working. There's a nano monkey in your backline, immediately takes out Shadow, but is now going to be looking onto Hanchu, and Hanchu's in a dangerous position. He's begging for his Mercy to come heal him, but it's not going to be enough. Primal out to sustain that mid-force a little longer in the rally just to deny any dive capabilities. The Valkyrie looks to be sustaining, so that's a good ultimate trade, especially with Bob getting net zero value. Maybe a blooper pick there. MTB is in your backline, looking to slam on the point. Off-White has to recall, and there's a bomb over the top. Almost gets one. The remat kill onto Game Boy, though. That Game Boy not really feeling that happy about that moment. MTB taking a jump penny, too, so that's going to be back to spawn for those. Off-White takes Shadow in the backline, though, so this is still winnable. There is still a lot of forces here as Off-White's going off right now. Oh my god, someone put a leash on this man. He's just going ham.
Hantu bobbing that high noon, gonna be able to find Big Juice and Bang.
Hantu back immediately. Penny's just in your backline. It's a non-stop fight at this moment. There's no even chance for me to catch my breath. Good lord, people, go back to spawn.
Regroup, do something. Just stop fighting. We can work this out. There are peace treaties and things, but
no peace treaties for MTB, who's on a ball rollout already in the backline with the mines, looking to get the maximum value out of this swap here. The justification incoming, and while Hax is online, Ascent can see through everything. There's the pile driver, massive value, huge shielding, gets out with absolutely no cause of recourse. EP Flower Child takes out Jump Penny while the distraction was in. Hanchu takes out Off-White in the sideline. That's a goal he's been winning currently. Bubble goes out on the Dax, gets a little bit of good damage in, but it's not going to be enough. The Nano is there. That Game Boy's looking very low right now in a 1v1 against the ball, and I would not want to be there if I was him. Ball gets the better of that one. At 9 times out of 10, Big Juice is looking to stay alive here. Sleeves Hanchu, what a BM play. Big Juice gonna go down in the end, and Off-White, last man stalling, takes out Hanchu with a clean one clip, but I don't think it's gonna be enough. It's now he's asleep on the high ground, gonna get, oh my god, Bazinga's just built different. Bazinga's just built different here, guys. Let's be real. And MTB rolling around on this ball still has this mines. It'll be interesting to see where he uses it.
You know, in this sort of open space, it's really going to be hard against a dive composition whenever they're not really using the streets at all. And it looks like MTB just kind of stood there admitting defeat against Bang whenever they were given a bubble, but just trying to take any sort of value that they can. But MTB goes back in on Bang, will be able to knock, and Shadow getting the pop-up kill.
What a clean engage from the two of them. Eats the pulse bomb. AP Flower Child supporting that backline perfectly, and that roll through into shot from Widow is just going to be a devastating combo. If you're not confident you can hit the body shot, that's okay. Get your ball player to slam them first. It's an easy shot to hit. You hit that body shot, put him at half HP, and the ball finishes the rest from there, or you just finished it after the ball, put in that extra damage. Great coordination coming out already. The Bob's out, but the mine's there to contest the Bob. That's an interesting play. It looks like Bob's just going to wipe the mines pretty quickly. Jump Penny's in your backline. He's angry. He's looking for blood. Off-White takes out Hanchu, but Shadow's entered out on a Bang. Shinjiro puts off Jump Penny off the map. But what an incredible break play. There's a very healthy Off-White in your backline, but I don't know if it's going to be enough. The bomb comes out. That's a peculiar play there. Not really going to get the value it needed to. As Off-White's going to finish out AP Flower Child. Now they're just looking for another engage? No, I think it's just back to spawn. I think MTB is just going to do ball things and just get free value because, you know, ball is just ball things.
It is definitely ball things. And taking a look at him just swinging to the rafters, swinging on that chandelier. And it looks like Jump Penny's going to be finding himself on the wrong side of a few barrels. And no pun intended, taking a look at the ball just rolling through, will get slept, but still being
got a 3K. Hanchu's got a 3K right now. He is popping off, trying to McCree diff the best he can. Bang pops off MTB, looking to do the same, but Bang is extremely low. The grab comes through the backline, the pulse into it. Jinro goes down as well as Shadow, but I don't know if it's going to be... It's an incredibly strappy fight, and there's an Electro Cowboy on the field. He's just fanning the hammer, going absolutely ham on Jump Penny. Not going to be enough, though. That Nano, not enough to sustain. One could say even almost a B-tier ultimate. Not going to be enough to really get the cleanup. Zinga's going to go for the fast reset. I don't know if MTB is going to get the touch here. It looks like he is. Bang's got that high noon, though. It could pull at any moment. MTB goes immediately low. Bang gets the cleanup. Insta kills. Double kill from Bang. That's Route 66. That's the series. What a convincing hold by Havoc. Absolutely well executed play. Jumpenny gets a little over aggressive as usual, but that's just the Jumpenny way of things. I think that's how we're just adjusted to. An Off-White, absolute menace on this Echo pick.
Let's see how Off-White was able to just completely make Shadow's Day a living nightmare. Oh, the stickies onto Jinro and Bazing, but Jumpenny will be able to find him.
29 HP. That's all you need. All you need is 29 HP and for your name to be Off-White, and you can get a 3K any day of the week. And I think Ascent's maybe underestimating Havoc coming into this match. Your top tier team is top tier for a reason, and Havoc finally securing a 3-0.
Yeah, Havoc was hungry for that 3-0 as given by our early pregame interview, and they were able to nom 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 on that all night long. Beautiful display of the control and the fundamental love of the game from Havoc. Now, we have to decide an MVP from all of these great players today.
Absolutely, and you know what? In my minds, we always talk about Croissant being like a hard carry for this team, but he wasn't here tonight. So it came down to Off-White. It came down to Bang to see if they could really fill those big shoes that Croissant left behind. And I gotta say tonight, Bang popped off. That man had 3K on every map minimum. He was just murking these kids. What are you thinking, Beryl?
I'm tending to agree. Bang in the kill feed constantly and always on the positive side. He made plays out of thin air. He was just able to do exactly what his character needed to do, just click heads, forehead. And I think that will be enough to earn him the MVP spot.
Absolutely. So that's Bang for our MVP. I don't know if chat's going to be upset with me. There's a lot of great candidates on the field. You can't be too mad, but Bang just is the difference maker tonight. He is the one that put the team on the backpack, that threw him over this 3-0 line. Every map, consistent plays, consistent pop-off ability.
Yeah, and so now we're going to be bringing him in here for a few questions at the end, and then we are going to be, and that'll be all she wrote for tonight. But let's go ahead and get the MVP, the man of the hour, in here right now as Bang
Bang,
joins
bang,
us.
bang. Welcome, my friend. How are you feeling tonight?
Pretty good.
Pretty good. I'd feel pretty good after that win, too. Listen, man, we got to know what was going through your mind, Route 66, as you were playing.
Well, I was gonna go Tracer, but I didn't. That's about all that went into my mind.
Yo, he's a cool, calm, collected killer. Can confirm this man is savage. Was gonna go Tracer, then I didn't. Just the pure confidence to pop off on any roll. Beryl, do you have any questions for our MVP tonight?
Yeah, absolutely. So, Bang, you're representing your team tonight. Congrats again on the win. Very well executed. My question for you is on that King's Row performance, you saw Ascent giving a lot of different, um, a lot of different attempts at compositions. What was going through your team in the comms whenever you saw these different performances? How did you guys adapt? Or for you, was it just, do I continue to click this head or that head?
Well, for me, it was more so just clicking heads because I think I played Kree the whole time, right?
Yeah,
think
for
so.
the most part, I think you played Kree all night.
Yeah. So on King's Row, it was click heads, but for my team as a whole, they would. I don't know if there was too much switching going on about, but it was more so like adapting to their play style.
Absolutely. And what are some of those adaptations that you ended up having to make?
Well, I know they were definitely like diving me a bit. So what I had to do is I had to stay back towards like the support line, kind of help out with that. But for them, they would mainly take like a high ground on that third point. They would take high ground and they would just make sure they did that was secured.
Absolutely. And what would you say in response to Ascent's pregame interview as they came in and said that they weren't really considering Havoc to be a concern?
I heard nothing about that. I don't know what's going on.
What would you say in response now though?
Um, how did they feel? Like
They thought it was going to be an
the-
easy win.
yeah. Well, was it an easy win?
Was it an easy win? That's all you need to say. Was it an easy win? Well, thank you very much. Go celebrate with your team. A great performance tonight, Bang.
All right, thank you,
Absolutely
guys.
fantastic. Thank you very
Thank
much
you.
for coming out. Okay, now after our fantastic MVP interview with Bang, 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 as all night long, he just popped off, clicked heads, stone cold killer in the lobby. And I think that's just wrapping up here, Beryl. What do you got to say before we finish this out?
So the last thing that I got to say is just going on to the rest of the tournament. We are going to be having a game this Saturday of New Haven Varsity versus the Potatoes. It's going to be at 10 p.m. EST, and don't be sure to not miss that one. And dang, we've seen a lot of. This will be the second 3-0 for this particular week, so we will have to see how this one particularly plays out. Maybe we'll be getting a little consistent streak going for that. But with all that being said, I think that's going to do it for myself and Suspect. Unless, do you have anything else to say there, sir?
No, I think after a very convincing match from Havoc and perhaps a little bit overzealous comments from Ascent in the early game, I have to say it was a very good match to watch. If you missed it, follow, subscribe to us on YouTube, and you can watch it anytime. But if that's all that we have for tonight, then that's all we have for tonight. I'm afraid, folks, we're going to end a little early, and that's going to be 413 Suspect and 413 Down the Barrel signing out. Best of luck.
Good job.
Bye.